Yeah.
Wise guy.
On 10. I'm the 1 + 9. Multiply, you get a dime. You know I ain't got your time on 10.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Smack Talk. I am joined by a longtime friend who's seen the world in ways most of us only dream about. From the underground poker tables to riding the infamous iron ore train in Mauritania, he's lived a life full of adventure and risk, and he's currently based in Portugal. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend, Alex DeCivita. Welcome, brother.
Hello,
welcome.
Hello.
Longtime friend. He is now in Portugal. He's traveled around the world and an infamous poker player. Guys, it's been a while since I wanted this guy on my podcast. Last time it just didn't work out. That's life, man. That's life. But it's the way you react to those situations, okay, and the way you adjust. All right. So we're here now. Alex, how the fuck are you, man? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Thank you. First off, thank you for having me, man. It's an honor, pleasure to be here. It's really cool what you've done with the podcast. You know, having all these amazing people on, surrounding yourself with good individuals with good ideas and motivated people. So kudos to that, man.
Thanks,
Thank you,
brother. Thank you, man. No, man, it was a dream, and I'm trying to make it a reality kind of thing. You know what I mean? And you're kind of a dreamer too, man. We have like the same mindset a little bit, like, you know, where we're kind of trying to get away from that 9 to 5, trying to get away from that mundane life. So let's talk about that a little bit, man. Why Portugal, and why did you decide to leave Canada?
I mean, I always wanted to live in Europe. I mean, since I'm a kid, I always saw like of Europe of a place I wanted to be at, right? So it all started. I did a little trip to Europe to visit my dad because he was living in Barcelona, and then got to Barcelona and I was kind of bored, right? I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I just don't want to just visit churches, you know. So I decided to do the Camino Santiago. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Mm-mm.
Saint-Jean-Compostelle.
No.
So it's like a 800-kilometer walk from France to Spain.
Okay.
I only did 550 kilometers. So I finished that. It took me a month to do that 550-kilometer walk. And then I'm right over Portugal at that point, right? So the logical step was to go down to Portugal, just see what happens. And so I stumbled across Porto. Met some really cool people, loved the place, met my girlfriend there. So I just kind of used Porto as like a base camp for a year as I was traveling Europe and a little bit of Africa. So at some point just decided, you know what, I'm just going to stay in Portugal and see what happens and go with the flow. And here I am a year and a half later.
Is it the vibe? Is it the people? Is it the weather? What makes you stay in Porto? It's Porto, right?
Porto, yeah.
Okay.
Porto, Portugal.
Okay,
yeah. So Porto, I mean, it could be an acronym if you want.
Okay.
If you say so. But, so, yeah, I mean, why Portugal? I mean, there's a lot of cool people. Brazilians are amazing. They're amazing people. They're almost like aliens to this world in a good way. Always happy, always smiling, always activities, always just really warm people, and they really bring the best out of people. So, it was just kind of logical to stay here just because I had a base of friends, a girlfriend, and yeah, it's been amazing.
And I know like your dad was a big influence on you for like traveling and stuff like that. But like, what was your first trip? What was your first trip to say like, you know what, man, I need to live this kind of life, you know?
Yeah, interesting. My first trip, actually, I was 18 years old, and it was my good friend / travel mentor, Seb Godet. Shout out, Sebastien Godet.
Shout out, brother.
And he was a bit older. We met like a little bit at CJEP, little conversations in the hallways, and you know, maybe 2-3 times, like not that much. Like I wasn't close to the guy, right? And one day he just comes up to me and say, "Hey, buddy, I'm going to Hawaii in 2 weeks for a wedding. You want to come?" I'm just like, "The hell? All right, let's do it. Let's try it, right?" And that trip really set me off to be the traveler that I am now, just because of his influence. And he's a hustler, right? He's always been like a really hustle mentality guy, and it really shows off when he travels to really push the boundaries of traveling. So, camping, wild camping, pushing the hostel life and always going after the coolest experiences in the situation in the place that you're at, right? So, for example, we rented a car in Maui to do Road to Hana, which is voted one of the most beautiful roads in the world by TripAdvisor. And we get to the car rental, and that guy's just hustling the guy to get the best deal ever. And he shows up with this beat up PT Cruiser, and we're like, no way, man! Like, we're not doing this, And he points to like the car with the sunroof, and we're like, we're doing this one. We're taking this one. So we hustled our way to get the lowest price to get a sunroof car. And then we took us 3 to 4 days to do the Road to Hana, which is only supposed to take you really one day. But we were sleeping in tents, sleeping in the car, sleeping on the beach, like just rum and coke for breakfast, like it was just like a really eye-opening trip, to really get that experience first off as a solo trip or without your parents, really. And that really set the mood to the way I travel now.
And what was the next place after that? What destination that was calling you after that?
South America. I did Colombia and Mexico for a month and a half each. I mean, it was just pushing, right? Because when you think of these countries, people think about like getting your head chopped off and, drugs, cartels and all that crap. And it's all exaggeration, by the media or whatever. Yeah. It's not true. I mean, they're the nicest people ever. I didn't get in any trouble the whole trips. And that was just kind of my mind, is to push myself and say, I'm going to go there, despite everybody telling me it's dangerous. And there's beautiful things to see. It's cheap. And just decided to go there. Yeah, it was amazing. Just different culture and a really different way of a life that traveling to, let's say, Hawaii or Europe is completely different. Right? If the bus driver doesn't show up to the bus, there's no bus today. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not Greyhound. Yeah. They'll have a backup bus driver. No. It's just like, this is how it is.
Yeah, this is fucking OC transport. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah. It's raw. It was nice. It was pure backpack. No, just sleeping in tents or sleeping at locals' places in Colombia. It was something special.
Yeah, that's something too that I find, like, a lot of people too, like people that are new to traveling. Like, I was I still am into travel, but my life took a couple detours, so I had to take a break a little bit. But it's the propaganda too, man. Like, I want to get into that because that's an important thing for me too. Is that sometimes you can't listen to everything you hear, man. You have to experience it yourself, especially for, like you said, like Colombia, Mexico, and stuff like that. Like, if you were to just watch the news, okay, you're like, okay, Mexico, I'm gonna get kidnapped for sure. Yeah, sure. If I go off of my resort in fucking Cancun, okay, I'm gonna end up in a bathtub somewhere, okay, with my kidneys cut out and shit, like, you know what I mean? But it's how you experience it. And it's the same thing with, like, traveling with kids and stuff like that. I think that if you travel with kids, it is a better learning experience than school itself. You get to see different cultures. You get to not only see it, but experience what other people go through. It's their reality too. And what's, like, the biggest, let's say, like, let's say, like in Colombia, you heard that you were, that it was very corrupt and stuff like that. But, like, what was the biggest, like, culture shock? Like, you were there, like, okay, this is not at all what I was expecting.
I mean, that was the first time I got in a country where there was imminent danger. Like, don't get me wrong, I didn't get in any trouble, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't safe, 100% safe. What I really understood from that is that in the big cities like Bogota, Medellin, Cartagena, right, where there's more people and less jobs, it was a bit more dangerous. You would think in countries like that, if you go outside of the big city, there's less police, so there's more crime, right? But the reality is people are just hungry, right? And they have no jobs in the city. So what I've realized on that trip, and it really just kind of, I've learned that from my other trips my whole life, is that the bigger cities are just going to be a little bit more dangerous. You got to watch out there, right? But then once you get in where the real people live, and it just, people are just the nicest, right? Humans are just genuinely nice people. Like, I've never met an evil person. They're just bad by circumstance, right?
Ooh,
so
like
if they're fed, everything's good, you shouldn't be in trouble, right? If you keep an eye on everything, you're fine. And the people are just more than nice. They're generous, right? They're almost feel, like privileged to have a person come on their doorstep or being interested in having a conversation with them, right? So they even extend gratitude. And there's a little bit of, can touch base into that with the Mauritania trip. And yeah, it's just, I think people are just genuinely nice people. I think that's a new moral.
Do you think traveling like brings us together as a whole, like the world itself?
I think so. Depends how you do it, right? If you enter a country and you're genuinely interested about learning them, and you want to have a conversation with the locals, and you go out of your way, yeah. But if you look at the tendencies right now in Europe, specifically in Spain, and if you look at tendency in Greece, where they have mass tourism and people just use traveling as a way of escaping and not necessarily learning, where they'll just go crazy, they'll go drink, they'll go party, they'll be menaces. I think that's
Ibiza.
Actually, Ibiza, Barcelona, Madrid, it's really bad. But if you go there and with a mindset because you want to actually experience, yes, it does bring people together. And you'd be amazed of the amount of people I've met traveling that I still keep on contact, and I still call, right? And from all over the world, right? People from Mauritania, they still call me on WhatsApp, right? Or people yesterday, a friend from Marseille I met a month ago, he was in Porto, and we had a beer together, right? So yeah, it does bring you together. You just got to do it in a certain way.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. Like I went to Barcelona as well. I went to Madrid and Barcelona, and a lot of people were saying like, well, especially the boomers, you know what I mean? They were saying like, hey man, Barcelona, there's a lot of pickpockets, man. There's a lot of pickpockets. But in my opinion, like I didn't see one situation like that, by the way, and I was everywhere. It's the way you present yourself. If you go out in the street at 3 o'clock in the morning, wherever, it doesn't matter. It could be fucking the slums of Rio de Janeiro, or it could be Gatineau, Quebec, right? If you go out in the street and you're drunk and you're cocky and you got your chains on and you got your J's on, and you're asking for it at a certain point, right? And these people get robbed, and then it gives the tourists like a bad vibe of that area, right? But that would happen anywhere, bro. Like it could be in Canada, and especially in the States. Like, come on, man. There's some neighborhoods you can't even go past the fucking 11 in the States. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is, man. But no, man. What you had?
Yeah. First of all, as well, you're like 250 pounds of muscle, so obviously they're not gonna mess with you, bro. Like, but my second night in Europe, actually, I was walking back 4 a.m. in the Gothic area of Barcelona, in little like weird little streets.
Yep.
And I'm at my Airbnb. I was staying at my dad's place for a week when I was visiting him. And I was in like this kind of plaza, and I walk out of the plaza and I see 5 dudes just chilling there, 4 a.m. And I'm just like, you know what? Like, my spidey senses are kind of tingling. So I just wait in the plaza, and I'm just chilling, wait to see if they pass by, because they're not going to jump me in a plaza. I mean, there's, it's too open. And I have a place to run at least. But then I see this little Australian chap just walk in, and I'm just like, I'm curious. I'm like, let me peek here. Let's see what happens. Bam! This gets jumped by 5 dudes, and he looks at me. He's like, "Help me, help me!" I'm like, brother, you gotta help yourself. I saw that coming. You should have saw that coming, bro. Like, like walking 5 a.m., 4 a.m. in flip flops in Barcelona.
It's like, oh no. Oh man, Yeah, well, Australians are everywhere too there, but you know, you gotta adapt to your environment too, man. Like, you know, if you see five guys coming and you're by yourself, you gotta. I don't know, man. Even me, like you said, okay, yeah, I'm a big dude, but like, man, if there are five guys, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do, bro? I'm not Hulk, man. Like, I'm gonna get my ass kicked. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's not pretend to be, you know, like strong and mighty there, you know. But and how was Africa, man? You've been to a lot of places in Africa. I want to jump into Mauritania there, but how was Africa itself? Like, how was that experience?
Well, I mean, it started. It was 2 years ago. I met some people in Porto, and we all decided to go to Morocco together. Right, we were all solo travelers, and we decided to just travel Morocco a bit, like the north, and just chill out together. Right, but 8 years ago, I saw a YouTube video about the train. Right, and I always thought, and the train is in Mauritania, Iron, where you go on to it, and I saw that video and I always thought that I'll never do that, right? Like, it's just kind of, people do this kind of stuff and you always think, well, can't be me, right? And I was in Morocco and I realized on the map, it's like, wait a minute, Mauritania is like the next country down, right? So it's actually, this is the closest I'll ever get to it. So I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to go on this. I'm going to go on this adventure and trying to hop this train, right? And it wasn't enough, right? It wasn't. I thought it was cool, but I wanted to make it extra cool, all right? So taking the experience that I had of doing half of Canada hitchhiking, I did Calgary to Ottawa hitchhiking, which is 3,500 kilometers in a month, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to hitchhike to the train and cross Western Sahara for a round trip. So that's 2,000 kilometers down, 2,000 kilometers up. So that took about a month and a half. And it was just an unbelievable experience.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, for people who don't know, let's just bring them into context a little bit there. So the train is over 2.5 kilometers long, okay? And it travels through the Sahara Desert, and it carries iron ore. So it's kind of like it's fucking messy, all right? It's pretty. It's not like it ain't a fucking 4-star hotel, okay? You're sitting on top of iron ore on this train, and it goes across the Sahara Desert. And if you fall off or something happens, you are fucked. You are in the middle of the Sahara Desert. And yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. So you jumped on one of the wagons and made the 20-hour journey across the desert. So what was going through your mind, like while you prepared for this trip, and how did this all happen? Like you just decided to hop on the train, and like how did this process happen for you?
Well, as I mentioned, you know, the YouTube video, it was close, right? But you know, while you asked about while I was on the train, I mean, it was probably the most peaceful part of the whole trip. Really? And the reason is the way that I got there. I think that is adventure, and that was the journey, right? And the train was more of the destination. And while I was thinking about this trip before, and I realized, I was like, okay, like, I'm just going to be so intense on this train. Like, when you got there, it was just nothing, right? It's not a big deal. Like, it wasn't, obviously it's cool. It takes nice pictures and it's good stories. But once you're sitting in there, you're just kind of enjoying the ride. It's like kind of being on the one or on the la 50, you know, but it's just in the middle of the desert. And it was the most peaceful experience because I didn't have to speak to anyone, right? And I was just alone. I was with a friend, but the journey getting there, if I could put a bit of setting here, because I was hitchhiking and because I was kind of vulnerable to just people's generosity, I had to kind of entertain them, right? And I had to speak to them, and they were extremely curious to learn why two white people are in the middle of the Sahara Desert, where there's absolutely no one, right? There's just maybe a village of 20 people within 1,000 kilometers away, right? Or a couple little cities. And they're just more curious about learning about you and seeing, like, what are you doing, right? And you realize too that sometimes I entered some villages and this elder would pick me up, right? And he'd pick me up off the side of the highway, and he'd say, "Oh, where would you sleep tonight?" Like, "Oh, I don't know. Like, we just have a tent and we're just gonna sleep in the desert." He's like, "No way, right? Just come on in. Come at my house." And he stops in the middle of the desert. It's pitch dark, right? There's no lights.
It's cold as fuck, probably.
Cold.
Yeah.
There's no lights, and we just start walking in the middle of nowhere. And he says, "Yeah, it's over there. It's coming." You're just like, okay, like, we just got to trust it at this point. We just got to go for it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we get to a small village of like 20 people, and you stay at their house, which is like a small hut made of like wood, carpet, and his wife made of food, which was like camel, right? We ate camel with our hands, and it was like this, just really traditional way of eating. And then, drinking goat milk from the village, which is, pretty, it's not the best milk in the world. But, and what you find out is that they're just more curious about you, right? I barely asked them any questions. They just didn't let me any space to ask them questions, mainly because they don't really know how to speak. They can understand, but they just made us talk the whole time, right?
Were you speaking English, French?
French, yeah. They're an old French colony, right? So the elder spoke French, but all the youngins didn't speak no French.
Arabic.
So they were curious, Arabic only, and they were extremely curious about us. And that village specifically, we're the first white people they ever saw in their life, right? They've never seen physically a white person, but they've never seen a white person on TV, right? They don't have Facebook. They don't have Instagram. They don't have cable. They don't have water, So that's when you realize, like, you're in the middle of nowhere. These people are like literally touching your skin because they're just wondering what the hell.
Understand.
Yeah, they don't get it. And tattoos, forget about it. Like, got tattoos. Girl I was with had tattoos. So it was an amazing experience, but it was extremely, extremely difficult to manage and really speak to people and communicate all the time and trying to comprehend what's going on at the time, right?
Mm-hmm. You said you were with a girl, and like, let's be real a little bit there. Some Arabic countries are very strict when it comes to women, especially in public, and if she has tattoos and that. How was that experience for her? Like, I know you're not going to talk to, it's her experience and stuff there, but like, how was the vibe for her as a woman?
It was difficult, definitely. I mean, a little background on this girl. She's probably the most impressive woman I've ever met. She's one of the top ones, right? And she traveled Egypt and Tunisia alone, completely alone. So I would never hitchhike with another person, never with another man, because I'll just not get picked up. And a woman, I mean, I don't want to be responsible for their security, right? And I just don't want to be put in that position. But this girl has the most serious character I've ever seen in my life, right? So I wasn't worried about bringing her because I knew she could back her shit up. If anything happened, I knew she could turn it on and be like, take the space in the room, right? And what was the most difficult was the opinions of people, right? And I got to be extra careful about what I say because they are, specific religion, they're Arabic, Muslim, right? But they're just the way that they are in that country is completely different to what we see in Arabs and the Muslim that we meet, right? Their government is Quran law, right? It's they have Al Qaeda in that country, right? And it's
a Sharia law. Sharia law, yeah.
Yeah, it's Sharia law, right? It's Sharia law there, so it's completely different, And here we are, and these people are telling us their stories, and they're trying to understand our culture. We're talking about religion, obviously, because they ask us, what are we, and are we married, and do we have kids? Why not? And it was, obviously it would go into that direction, but when you start digging in on what they're telling you, and it's completely out of this world of anything you ever heard, right? Like, it's just like women are like this, men are like this. A man needs to change wives every 5 years for, to refresh their manliness. And, all this type of conversation is okay one time, but every single ride that you get, or 50% of the rides that you get, are going to have a comment like this, right? And it gets really heavy, right? You got to just accept it and take it in. But at some point, it gets really heavy. And the craziest part of this trip is another village I was at in Mauritania. We meet the elder, right? And whenever you meet the elder, you have to drink 3 rounds of tea,
okay,
right? Because it's a form of respect.
Mm-hmm.
When you enter the village, you drink 3 rounds of tea. The reason we were owning that in that village is because there was an oasis there, and we wanted to visit the oasis. So we stopped at the elder's house and we have tea. 3 rounds. Takes about 45 minutes to an hour to have. We're obviously talking about marriage. We're talking about relationships. We're talking about the Western world. And all of a sudden, he brings in 5 girls into the little hut. And he looks at me, points at me, and points at the girls. And he was kind of doing like this, like, pick one, right? And the craziest part is that one of them was probably maximum 15 years old,
Yeah.
And the other one was 24 max, right? And that's when you realize, okay, like, I am not where I'm supposed to be. Like, this is
crazy.
This is crazy. Yeah. I mean, and it's not nothing wrong with the religion. It's really
just a fucking culture shock for you,
Yeah. It's a good thing to them, right? They're giving them an opportunity, right? And they were wanted almost. I assume they wanted to be picked. I think, I don't know, right? And it was just a crazy experience. And here I am with a woman that I told them that she was my wife, right? Because that was kind of a lie that we say for them to understand what we were. And he says, yeah, it's okay. You can have 2, what's the problem, right? And that's when after that, we both cried, that was just the bottom. That's what the class just kind of filled up on that. We were just like, done. Like, okay, we're out. We're wrapping this up. We didn't drink the 3rd tea. We only had 2. They're like, nope, we're out. Stop following us. Stop. Like, this is just too much. So that's why I'm saying when I got on that train, that was the most relaxing part of the trip. Yeah.
Damn. And where did it finish? Like, it starts in Mauritania, but where does it finish?
So how Mauritania works is like let's say this Agadir up here, you would go all the way down 2,000 kilometers to the capital of Mauritania. And then there's another highway that goes back up into the desert. So that goes into Al-Qaeda territory where the mines are, where all the money gets. There's 2 parts of the money in Mauritania. There's the piers, the ports, and then there's the mines, right? And they control, I believe, at least the mines. And I hitchhiked all the way up, which is about 600 kilometers. And then you would take the train from the middle of the desert. And then I would bring you across back to the port city of Nouadhibou in Mauritania, about 100 kilometers from the border from Morocco, Mauritania, where I started going back up hitchhiking.
Damn, man. What a crazy fucking moment, man. That's nuts, man. Especially but I find that interesting too, like culture shock at a certain point. But once you get there and you realize, like, man, we are living 2 different realities, man. It's crazy. Was that the biggest culture shock you've ever had, or like was there any other places that?
No, that was it.
Yeah,
that was it. I mean, you can't. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'll ever beat that. Maybe I will, but that was seeing that in live. You hear about this in movies and papers and all that, but when you see it happening and you're like a main player or a main character in the story, you got to physically remove yourself from this situation. That's when it really hits you. The moment in, you're like, okay, I got to deal with this. But then after, you're like, what the hell just happened? Like, what is this? And yeah, that was the most culture shock of my life I've ever felt. Yeah.
That's the rush that comes with it, right? It's the rush, the thrill. Like it's like everything in life. Like you have ups and downs, but travel sometimes, man, in the unexpected, you can get some pretty cool rewards, like especially emotionally, like after the fact. Another thing that gives you rush is gambling, playing poker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's one thing that that I wanted to touch too. You didn't mention that you're no longer a poker player, or you took a break or whatever. But what got you into poker? Like, let's talk about this a little bit, man. Because I haven't seen you since. Well, we took like a little break, right? Elementary, high school, we pretty much went our own little way. And then I used to work at a casino. For people who don't know, I used to work security at a casino. Crazy motherfucking experience, but we're not going to talk about that today. And then I saw Alex. I'm like, holy fuck, man, I haven't seen you in a while. And then you explained that, like, hey, I play poker. I'm here to play poker and stuff like that. And you were actually very successful at it. So what got you into poker? Why poker? And how did that help you not only fill your pockets for travel, but to see the world in a different perspective?
Sure. Well, how I got into poker is I used to play chess tournaments for a while, and my chess coach just pretty much told me, you should probably quit playing chess and start playing poker, because the game trees and the studying is exactly the same, right? The way you study chess and you study poker is the same part of your brain to review. So I just decided, you know what, I can make money off of poker. Let me try it out, right? So I started playing a little bit, got good, and I realized people are really bad. They don't study. They just make the same mistakes over and over again, and they don't understand why, and they're just got unlucky, right? It's all skill, a little bit of luck, a little bit of variance, but it's all skill. I mean, it's all about in which position you put yourself. So yeah, I just started playing poker during COVID, like really intensely online. I played north of 500,000 hands in a year and a half, which is equivalent to, I think, 15 years of play in live poker, just because the speed of it, because I was playing 8 games at once online, and like, just, online you can get on one table between 50 to 70 hands an hour, and in live poker, especially casino like Limi, where the dealers are super slow, you'll probably get 15 to 20 max, right? So if you're playing 8 times 50, and then you'll just rack up the experience of years of these other pros, of the other gamblers, that they just don't stand a chance if you study properly, right? So then that's where I really kicked in and started making good money off of poker.
When did you realize that you were good at it?
It was during COVID again. I had a coach for a while, a poker coach, and you get like this, basically a tracker for your online game, and you can see your win rate. And my win rate was fairly high, right? And it was 9 big blinds per 100, right? A big blind is like, let's say you're playing 50 cents a dollar, and the big blind is the dollar, right? So I was making, in that case, $9 an hour, $9 every 100 hands. Sorry, so that in those simplified terms, right? So, and that's very high online. So I realized, okay, once live starts, and I'm gonna make a killing, because here I am focusing on one game with higher amounts of money against people that never tracked and studied their game ever, right? So obviously I'm going to have the biggest edge at the table, or amongst other pros, right? Who are also in their 20s, and they also had a huge online background, right? So I just realized I was making money. So, that's why I quit and went in for it.
Do you think the fact that you studied poker online, like, do you think you could have gotten to the same place by just playing poker in person, or that online was just the volume of games and stuff, like, allowed you to learn more and stuff? Okay. Yeah.
COVID was a blessing for me. I mean, it was amazing, COVID, because all I did is play poker. All I did. I mean, I played maybe 7 hours a day, and I studied 2 hours in the morning, right? I was disciplined, played every day. I ate well, I drank lots of water, didn't drink alcohol. I was like on it, right? And it was like almost sick, but I knew there was something going on here. There was an edge that I was taking advantage of that people were not, right? And the fact that I had nothing else to do, and I was just grinding to this, studying, and really trying to master this skill, I knew that most people, when I went back on and live, they would not have done this. They would have taken 3 years off, or they would have played online, but they wanted to study properly, I would have had the highest edge in the casino or amongst other people that did the same strategy as me, which was quite a few.
When you say study, what do you mean? Like, do you screen record your own things? Do you look at other game matches, or like what's your process for studying?
Yeah, you have a poker tracker, so it tracks every single hand of yours, right? And then there's different filters you can find mistakes, and you can really filter down the hands. And if let's say you wanna study a part of your game, right? You want to pre-flop, right? And you can filter down to that hand, and then you can review it slowly, and you can ask questions in forums. I had like a study group that I used to study with, and we used to study together, and then a coach where I would review hands with him. Like it was every day. You just kind of go through it, just reread your hands and see what mistakes you made, the good hands, the bad hands, try and find the small mistake that you make, and just patch it. Just patch, a little crack here, patch it. Little crack here, patch it. And then you just don't make the mistake twice, or you make it 2-3 times, and then you learn, and then progressively get a little bit better every day.
Does the poker face work, or is it really depends on your skill and everything, or it's just like a...
Yeah. I mean, the poker face kind of has this like James Bond attributions to it. It's more tendencies, right? Maybe the biggest tell is maybe the hands. I mean, the hands will tell you more information than the face usually. But the background that I had in poker was there's two types, right? There's game theory, which is more the online area. Game theory is like really just studying, using solvers, trying to understand how to optimize your game. And then there's more exploit. Exploit is more like Negreanu, Phil Hellmuth, Phil Avey style, right? And then they more like exploitative, right? But then again, the game is just so different now that I think exploitative kind of, it's just not the same. Like the poker face, people lie, they modify their face, and you can't really tell. So I would just go with my gut, and I would go with the game theory. And if I have a read on a specific person, then I would implement it, but I wouldn't make a decision straight off of a poker tell.
That's high stakes, man. That's high stakes. Yeah. Do you have like a high stakes moment from your poker games that like still gets your heart racing when you think about it?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, there's a few.
Ones you could talk about. We're not going to mention no names. We're not going to mention anything, but like, what big moment or like high stakes moment, like, made you fucking stress a little bit?
I mean, whenever there's money on the line, people stress, right? It's the biggest hand I played, right? Like you have, at some point I was playing between $3,000 and $5,000 buy-ins. And when you have $5,000 in front of you and you're in a tough spot where you're not too sure what you're doing, your mind gets blurry, your hands get sweaty, your stomach turns, you're just always stressed, right? Whenever you push your limits to gambling higher amounts. So every time I would move up stakes, I think I would just be stressed. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the, let's say like you played in Gatineau, you played in multiple different casinos and stuff like that. Which casino had the most talent in terms of poker players? Like you're like, holy fuck, okay, these guys are serious.
I mean, it was all private games, right? Like I played a little bit in casinos, but private games basically are ran by groups of people that just like to play poker. Mm-hmm. And what they do is they get a good amount of good players and a good amount of bad players with a lot of money. We call them whales or fishes, which is the name of people that, they lose at poker, right? And then there's regs, pros, who are just there to fill the seats and just take advantage of these players, right? And the dynamic is the bad players want to play against good players because they want to challenge yourself, and the good players want to play against bad players, obviously, because they want to make money.
Yeah. Right.
So the games where there was the most good players were obviously the higher stakes, but especially more on the Gatineau side. because mostly we're in Ontario, but the Gatineau side really attracted a more of a finer clientele, a bit of a clientele that was a bit more corporate. And people were well known there, so it was a lot more private. And then obviously that brings better players to that area, to that games, because it's just more welcoming, more private, and higher stakes. So I think those games are the best. Yeah.
I noticed too that you were at the casino a lot during the week and not on the weekends. Was there like a thought behind that, or is there like a different? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, good you noticed that. So what happens is that it's all about edges, right? It's all about the value you think you're going to extract from a game, right? What happens is on the weekends is all the semi-pros come out, and what happens is that they're decent players. So my edge kind of goes down, right? I've still got an edge, but my general edge is kind of lowers. But if you go during the week, it's really just pure gamblers that are there, right? Who the hell is on a casino on Tuesday night drinking?
Degenerates.
Right? Those degenerates, right? Or gamblers, right? So that's where I thought, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play like Monday to Friday or Sunday to Thursday, and I'll play. And I just found a bigger edge, and you couldn't even see in my numbers, right? Because I tracked everything. My Fridays were less profitable, right? Saturdays were less profitable. So, and this was specifically only in the casino. And in the private games, the Fridays were higher because they could filter out who can play, right? So they only allowed a certain amount of good players. Like party poker on Fridays was pretty cool. I'm sure you're gonna like this story. I mean, they had Friday poker, party poker at a certain group of individuals, and they essentially just hosted a huge party. You know, all the thing you can think of, everything's free. You know, drugs, alcohol, food, girls. It was just a party, just really for gamblers, right? And at midnight, they would have girls up on top of the table, dance, and people would throw money. It was just like the movies, you know. It was just complete nonsense. But I was there, completely sober, in working mode, and all I saw was just like, this is a huge high for these people, right? These people are just
so they're going to spend more money. Yep.
Yeah, they're attracted to it, and then they go back to playing. They're all fired up, and then there you go. Now the stacks are flying, and now you just got to hold on and be like, okay, I just hope poker gods are going to be in my favor. So it's putting yourself in the right position and the right games.
Why'd you decide to take a break from it?
I mean, poker is really a game of edge again, right? So if you hop off the bus and you're not as passionate about it, you won't be studying as much. Then you're gonna start losing, right? So a couple of reasons why I lost passion is just because it was fun in my 20s, you know, early 20s, you know, like poker games, living at night, playing, you know, high stakes pokers and underground games. It was fun, you know, it was cool, it's a thrill. But now, now I live in Europe. I have a girlfriend. I want more of a normal life. I want something more, a decent schedule. I don't want to be a night owl. You know, it kind of had its time, you know, and it was fun. I made good money, but it was just, you know what? It's time to move on. And I'm never going to play poker just for fun. You know, it was always for money.
Yeah.
Right. I've went back to the casino twice in a year or in 2 years. Right. Mm-hmm. It's just not something I enjoy, right? It was more of to make money. It was a job, right? So just kind of just quit, and I'm not really too keen on playing either.
No, man, I feel you, man. Sometimes you need a little switch in the life. Like I was in the nightlife too. Like I was fucking bouncing during the night and doing 12-hour night shifts and all that shit. And you know, we're creatures of routine. Right. So at the end of the day, it's okay. Working night shifts is cool, but for the rest of your life, man, no, it's unhealthy. It's just you need something normal in your life, and I'm glad, man, that you found a girl and that you're starting to settle down a little bit. But do you think Portugal is the place that you're going to be settling down for the rest of it, or you're still out there looking?
Hell no. I mean, I'm never going to settle down. I think. I mean, I don't. And my personality is just not like that. I'm always chasing highs, and I think for now I'm good for another year in Portugal because it's amazing. I love it. But I want to live in France. I want to live in Asia. I want to live in Japan. I want to live in Australia. I wanted to live in Russia, but obviously now it's a bit not the best time. But I always wanted to live all over the world, right? So why would I settle down now? I'm at the door now. I'm in Europe. I am literally at the door of the rest of the world. And why would I just stop pushing on, right? And seeing more and experiencing more and tasting more.
Yeah.
Right?
The Euro vibes are fucking amazing. Like they're impeccable, man. I love the Euro vibes, man. It's just it's different. Everybody lives their own life. Everybody is happy, partying. In Spain, la siesta. Like you relax. You spend time with family, friends, loved ones. Have good suppers, have good dinners, laugh and enjoy life, man. It's less of a capitalist mindset and more of a community feel, right? I think that's why Canadians or Americans, Western civilization, when they go to European countries, they realize like, oh fuck, like maybe this is the best. Like I need a little break, of my my 9 to 5 or my crazy fucking hectic life. Did you feel the same way when you got into Europe? Like what was the feel when you got there, and why did you vibe with it? Like I know your dad's Italian, you know what I mean? You got the Italian roots, but why did you fall in love with Europe so much?
Man, it's a lifestyle.
It's cheap.
A lot healthier. It's cheaper. It's healthier.
Yes.
The food is higher quality. People walk to work. Like I walk 30 minutes a day to work, but it's a nice walk and it's made to be walked on, right? If you go to work walking in Canada, you're walking next to the highway, brother, or there is just not a nice walk to be on, right? It's just not supposed to. You're not walking in the winter either, So here is just a better lifestyle in terms of just being healthy and active living. But additionally, more of a mindset switch is the first thing you ask a person when you meet in Canada, the U.S., shake their hand. Hey, my name's Alex. What do you do for a living? It's the first question every day, every time. Or what did you study? Or where do you work? What do you do? Every time. Here, ever, never. People don't care. They just, what'd you do this week? Like people don't, they're actually curious about you, not the status that you bring to the situation or the table. They don't care about what you do or how much money you make or who you hang out with. No, they just want to have a good time. And this is my experience in Portugal and Spain, at least, right? I can't speak for all of Europe because it's a big place with a lot of different cultures.
Absolutely.
But in my experience in Portugal and Spain, it's completely different, and people don't care about anything. They're just having a good time with you in the present moment, and it's beautiful. Yeah.
And you've been around Portugal too. Like, what is why Porto? Like, is there any other place in Portugal that like, holy shit, this is nice, or like you think Porto has like everything and it's just like the epicenter of fun? What I mean?
Yeah. It's the second biggest city in Portugal. Lisbon is first. Yeah. The difference between the two of them is obviously the size,
traffic.
Traffic. Lisbon is amazing. I love it, but Portugal is smaller. It's warmer. It's more of a natural feel. It has its charisma, its charm, right? And it has everything that you need. Nice views. It's got a nice airport for you to travel in and out. You've got nice parties, activities every single day in the summer. You really just can't beat it, right? I mean, I traveled a lot in Europe, and every time I got back home to Porto, I was like, wow, this place is dope. This place is beautiful, because you're still in traveler mode, you just went to travel a little bit and you're always looking at the buildings, you're always trying to see things. And then you get back home, you're kind of in the same vibe. And then you realize like, wait a minute, like this is where I live. This is even more beautiful than where I was for the last week traveling. Right. So it's like, why would I leave? Right. But another place in Portugal, I would say Madeira. Madeira is an island.
Yep. The Hawaii of Portugal.
Yeah, Hawaii of Europe, basically. Yeah. One of the Hawaiis. It's unbelievable. Beautiful. highly recommend.
Yeah, if I had more time, I would definitely go to Madeira for sure. I'm going to be in Portugal at the end of beginning of October, and hopefully, we will have a chance to have a beer together in person, or have a little bica, you know what I mean, in the morning, just chill out a little bit. No, man, I can't fucking wait. But out of all the places you traveled, okay, I'll put you in context, all right? Let's say you're talking to 18-year-old Alex, all right? And 18-year-old Alex is like, dude, I want to start traveling, but I have no fucking clue where to go, and I want a place where, you know, I get to experience travel in the first hand and have like a culture shock, but also somewhat kind of comfortable, you know? What is the place that you recommend new travelers or people that want to, you know, get out of the the common places, you know, like Cancun and fucking, going to France. What is the place you recommend the most?
Sure. I mean, if you want to get off the beaten paths, right? That if you're 18 years old, it's your first solo trip, and you're open to experiencing new things, right? And this is like something really very pure to everyone, right? Like, it's really different. A lot of people, they're 20 and they go to Europe in hostels for 2 weeks. And that was insane. That was pushing their limits, right? And that is okay, right? And that is fair to you, right? That is, you push your limits. You did your best. You had your ups and downs, right? And that's good, right? But for me, different, right? That, to me, that's a bit more boring. It's a more traditional. So, so in that way, I would say, if I would tell to myself, or somebody that's open to more experiences and they're actually want to like get off the classic trips, I would heavily recommend South America. Reasoning is, it's close to Canada. First of all, you don't have to cross the whole ocean there. Yeah, the whole pond. People are genuinely nice. And everybody's nice everywhere, but people are extremely warm. And I would stay in places where there's good transport, right? Because it's a developing country, but it's not run down, right? So if you would go like Mexico, it's not like this super, like, they don't have these fast trains and fast highways, but they've got some structure, right? So you can still plan it out if you're a planner. And you're somebody that like doesn't like to go with the flow, you can still have a schedule. It's not 100% going to happen, because sometimes you just don't show up. But a place like Mexico, I think there's a good aspect of comfort. It's cheap and it's secure, and you can kind of do what you want there. So I would say Mexico is a good place to start, but not Cancun. Don't like, come on now. Come on, I went to Mexico for a week, bro. It was so sick, man. I had some tacos and my resort, but then I went crazy. I went to Tulum, bro. Like, it was such like a incredible experience. Culture shock, bro. It's like, bro, you had acai bowls with a bunch of white people. Like, come on.
Yeah, I know. But Mexico is kind of, I'm not going to say whitewash, but it's almost getting there in a certain sense. It depends where you go. It depends where you go.
Cancun. Yeah, Cancun and Tulum, for sure.
Tulum, Playa del Carmen, Cancun, it's all, it's getting there in a certain sense. A lot of Karens now. But what's next on your list, man? Like, any upcoming trips, adventures you're planning in the near future?
Yeah, I've got my next plan going up right now. I'm just stacking a bit of cash, enjoying my life right now. I've got a good life. I'm happy. I don't need to move for a bit. Like, I can do like weekend trips, and I'm happy. I've got a good thing going on, but the itch is gonna come back to like push, and I know it's coming back. I'm already starting to study, and I'm already starting to look into visas. I'm planning to hitchhike from Portugal to Japan in about 4 years. So I'm gonna go through all of Europe, go through the Middle East, go through Eurasia, and then go through India, and then keep going until Japan. Yeah.
Damn.
So it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, Japan's pretty crazy, man. Japan is a gorgeous place too, man. But doing the whole continent before getting there is going to be a fucking crazy experience, man. Man, that's awesome. Alex, man, thank you so much, bro, for taking the time out of your day. I know it's like fucking, what is it, 4 o'clock there now? It's the morning here, so it's a little bit of a difference. But Alex, man, thank you so much, and I can't fucking wait to see you in person, man. Have a beer, have a bika, and have something else. You know what I mean? But man, thanks for the conversation, bro, and I wish you all the best, brother. I love you so much, and thank you for coming on.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Have a good one.
Guys, this is, I'll see you next week or next episode. And like usual, man, tell a friend to tell a friend. Ciao.
I'm the 1 + 9, multiply, get a dime. You know I ain't got your time on 10. Got the cookies in the grind, sweet sticky product. You know that shit a 10 out of 10. I'm the 1 + 9, multiply, get a dime. You know I ain't got your time on 10. Got the cookies in the grind, sweet sticky product. You know that shit a 10 out of 10.